Good morning. There was a priest in the Archdiocese of Chicago who retired from ministry over a year ago now. And in the story, the priest did something after his last Mass in the parish. And what he did was he left his shoes by the altar. And he said to the people, he posed this question to the people. He said, who will fill the shoes? Who will fill these shoes? Within the year after that priest's retirement Mass, the Archdiocese of Chicago has invited men in the parish with the same battle cry, with the same invitation, the same question: who will fill these shoes? And in Mangalanan Seminary, there were about 150 young men who expressed interest for priesthood that year. Father Tony was here with us at the 4 o'clock Mass yesterday. We all know that he has also himself retired from public ministry. That means he doesn't retire as a priest because he will always be a priest. So whatever he's doing, whether he's writing or sleeping under the tree, he's being a priest. So that's not the point. He's retiring from the usual ministry of a diocesan priest to serve and be assigned at a parish and serve a specific parish for the purposes of the diocese. So he's retired. And yesterday he ended the Mass kind of talking about what Father Ivers of Chicago did with his shoes. And so Father Tony yesterday left his shoes by the altar and said, who will fill these shoes? Calvin Klein. Father Tony said he got it from a resale shop. Isn't resale shops like when somebody used the shoe and then gives it to the resale shop and we can use it? Okay, for the record, I will never buy shoes from a resale shop. This is where I draw. Father Tony, I'll follow everything you say, but that's where I draw, man. I don't get from a resale shop. I'd rather get slippers or barefoot. Yeah?
You buy it from there, don't you?
No. Sorry. That's me. Okay, so, it's very powerful, this thing about the shoe, because indeed there is never going to be another Father Tony. For sure, there's not going to be another Father Tony. But the grace of God at work in the ministry of the priest will be constantly present for whoever responds. It will always be there for whoever will have a valiant heart to say yes to filling the shoe. You see, church, not only is this about the priest, but it is a question being posed to all of us. Because in the bigger picture, we all have to fill in the shoe. No, every Christian, every Catholic, every follower of the Lord Jesus Christ has to think about filling some shoe. In our first reading today, we have the prophet Jeremiah. Prophet. You know, at the heart of our Catholic faith, we have to realize that we are called to live the prophetic calling. We have to respond to becoming a prophet ourselves. In the story of Jeremiah, he he went to God and started complaining, right? He said, "You duped me, and I allowed myself to be duped." That's complaining. How many of you complain to God? I complain to God. I complain to God. If there's anyone who can take it, God can. So I complain to God. Like, if I don't understand something, it's like, how is this possible? What are you thinking now? What's up? Sometimes I complain like that. I don't know what you're thinking. But anyway, that's me. It's probably like, ha ha ha. But it's okay. And so Jeremiah complains to God. Why would he not complain? I mean, Jeremiah the prophet is ridiculed by the people. He's been turned into a big joke. And that is why he said, everyone laughs at me. People are laughing at him. He's ridiculed by the people. They call him names. And you know what his nickname is? His nickname is Terror from Every Side. That's his nickname. How do you want to have a nickname like that? Terror from every side. And the reason why he's called that is because, you know, God, being the prophet, God gives him the message for Israel. And so he's there. What is his message? His message has always been, you know, God's wrath. Right? That's the message that he tells the people. Outrage and violence is my message whenever I speak, says Jeremiah. Jeremiah tells the people, Yahweh will come and take you down, or God's wrath is at hand, or something like that. That's what he told the people. Well, that comes from God, right? But God always was kind and merciful, and when he sees someone trying better, he kind of backs down and says, okay, I won't do it. So who becomes like the fool? Jeremiah. And so people are laughing, you're a weirdo. Because you say it, but where is it? Because Yahweh, God, changed his mind about the wrath upon Israel. Well, to be a prophet is not an easy thing. It's not easy to be a prophet, because you are subjected to all kinds of hate and ridicule in the name of God, in the name of the one who summons you to speak on his behalf. Church, Jeremiah's not here. Who's filling Jeremiah's shoes? You. All of you. When you were baptized, you entered into the prophetic ministry of Jesus. When you received the anointing of the crimson on your forehead, you were endowed and sharer of the prophetic ministry of Jesus. That means you are a prophet. You are to speak on behalf of God. Ooh, good luck. Because I tell you, that's never easy. It's never easy because it will make people uncomfortable. They don't want to be hearing what you're going to say, especially if they don't like it. And as a Catholic, as a Christian, as a believer and follower of God, the Lord Jesus Christ, you are called to have the courage to be able to speak on his behalf. I mean, how many people hate the church, for example, even today? The church really embodies in it the very messages of God. And a lot of people hate the church for all kinds of reasons. Talk about the value and the sanctity of human life. People will hate you for that. In a culture of death, people will hate you. And that is why St. Paul said in the second reading, we cannot live for this age, for this earthly community. We're supposed to be living for the Lord. The change of heart, the metanoia that happens, has to be alive in each one of us. That we are always changing people's hearts, renewing people's hearts, converting people's minds. And that is not easy. They will hate you because it's so uncomfortable. A lot of people take the easy way, That's why in our culture today we like painkillers. That's the culture of the world today. It symbolizes for us that any discomfort, any little pain, we're taking another pill, we're taking another this, we're taking another that. It kind of very symbolic of what's going on in our culture. Any type of discomfort or anything that is not convenient, we shun. But if we are to follow the Lord Jesus Christ, we go right into the discomfort. We go right into the suffering. We go right into the pain. And that is why if we're listening closely to what's going on in our gospel reading today, Jesus finally told his apostles that the time will come when he will have to be handed down to the scribes and to the scribes and to the people, and he will be killed. He will suffer and be killed. He has to walk the path of suffering. And Peter didn't like it. And Peter says, God forbid it. That's not going to happen to you. Because Peter is thinking not according to God's plan, but according to his human propensity to shun away from the pain and the suffering. But that's not the plan of God. In fact, Jesus walks right into the heart of the human dysfunction. It's not possible to be a Catholic, to be a Christian, to be a follower of the Lord, and to shun away from the suffering. In the light of the shoes, Father Tony was saying, who will fill the shoes? That's a very hard question. Because what we're asking is this: long hours, low pay, no sex. Who wants it? Oh, that's not original. That's from my teacher at seminary. Who wants it? In my 10 years of priesthood, I know a lot about parish life. And I tell you, the priest must have a little target, sign of a target on himself. Because the priest is where everybody goes for what is miserable, what's complaining, all that. I know a parish, for example, the priest decided that the tabernacle is a little bit off from the center, and so he moved the tabernacle from maybe a couple of feet from the left in the sanctuary, going a little bit more to the middle. You would think there was an uprising in France, the French Revolution happening in the parish. There was one priest, another priest, moved his seat, moved the priest's seat from the back, from behind the altar, just moving it to the side, like what we have today. He lost about a dozen parishioners. Wrote letters, nasty letters, of how they're not consulted, how he just does whatever he wants in the parish, things like that. It could be the smallest little thing, and it's blown up into this disproportionate realities and like weird stuff. But dealing with the human condition, this is what you get. Who wants to be a priest? Who wants to serve the Lord? That's not only the reality of the priest, it's the reality for you and me. It's not easy as long as we're dealing with the human condition, but we have to walk right into the heart of the human condition, which is suffering, and pain, and dysfunction, so that we can be the Lord Jesus Christ to them, that we can hold the torch of faith and hope and charity for His people, so that they can see the plan of God and His kingdom. And that is why for you and me, we know that the prophet is gone. We know that the martyrs are now dead. And we know our valiant and beloved Father Tony is retired. It's your time, people. It's our time. This is our time. And it takes true courage and a real committed response of yes, to be able to say, I will. I will fill those shoes. It's not easy, but I think if we're taking our life to follow the Lord Jesus Christ more seriously, it is necessary. So help us God.